The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Douglas County, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34824. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new vehicle. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. Moving up onto the bumper face on the passenger side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move up onto the top of the bumper extension, you'll find a tubbed storage location with a notch for your hose. And as we move slightly to the right in the image, you'll find a 2.5-inch front bumper discharge. Also moving just to the right, you'll find an additional tubbed storage location. Let's move up onto the face of the body. On the outer edges, you'll find a marker light. Just inside of that location, you'll find a turn indicator. You'll also find the headlight structure housing a low and high beam headlight. The high beam is on the inside. Moving up, you'll find 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights. As we feel directly behind the Pierce logo, it's where you'll find the latch to release the hood where the DC2FD logo is located. Moving up onto the one-piece seamless windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers. Moving out to the outer edges, you'll find a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Moving up onto the very top of the roof of the cab is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Directly inside the center location of the light bar is where you'll find your Opticom. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, starting on the driver's side. This is the 2.5-inch discharge. Moving now up to the grille for the Pierce logo. Directly behind is the location for the latch mechanism. Let's take a look in the bumper extension with it in the open position. You'll find dry deck material. And as we move closer to the outer edge on the driver's side, you'll find your front discharge. It is foam capable. And as we move to the outer edge, you'll find a tub storage location, dry deck material inside. Let's take a quick look at the driver's side of the vehicle. We'll start first with the cab of the vehicle, starting down in the lower left-hand corner at the front axle. You'll find a sight gauge located on the front axle. Moving now to the front bumper extension is where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Just under the driver's door, you'll find the drain location for your front bumper load. As we move up onto the truck itself, you'll find grab handles which are easily accessible with a gloved hand. And you'll also find grab handles at all points of entry. There are 4 located on the cab for each location. As we move upward in the very rear section of the apparatus, you'll find a side-facing LED water level indicator. And as we move down, we'll find all of our latch drains. These are going to be a lift latch style. First is the driver's side auxiliary inlet, foam for the discharge drain, and then also foam pump intake drain. We'll start now in the pump panel area. Let's start just up in the upper left-hand corner with the cross lays. You'll find 2 dead lays at the very front section nearest the cab. As we move to the right, you'll find a warning label here regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move to the right, you'll find the number 1 speed lay. It's foam capable. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find the number 2 cross lay, which is also foam capable. Let's move in the same line just to the right, and we'll find our master intake gauge. Moving further to the right, you'll find the pump discharge. These are your 2 master gauges. As we move down, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged and are for use for testing purposes. Let's move down onto the pump panel. First, starting in the upper left-hand corner, you'll find your foam system Husky 3 specifications and also instructions. You'll also find your vehicles equipped with a CAFS system. This is information regarding the warning of your CAFS system. Moving further to the right, you'll find a 2.5 discharge reduced down to 1.5 inches. And then we'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges and also gauges.
As we move to the right, you'll find the fire pump primer, and just beneath that, you'll find a informational guide regarding at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices for pulling a prime. As we move to the right, your water tank level indicator, and then further to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. In the upper left, you'll find your pump discharge and also pump intake. Those are digital readouts. In the very center, we'll find a digital readout in regards to your menu. As we move to the left, two options, either pressure mode or RPM mode. Directly in the center, you have an OK to engage the throttle green indicator. Beneath that, you'll find the increase or decrease, right to increase, left to decrease on the wheel, push in the center for idle. As we move down to the lower right, you'll find a preset button if you choose to use presets for pressure or throttle. As we move to the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a digital readout for the RPM. You'll also find two buttons, a silence button, which will allow you to silence any audible alarms, and then the menu button, allowing you to scroll through the various menu functions of this device. Moving down, you'll find two indicators. Those indicators will be yellow if illuminated, which would be a check engine light. As we move to the right, you'll find red if illuminated, a stop engine light. And then down at the very bottom, we'll find all of our engine diagnostic information. As we move directly to the very top section, just over the FRC pressure throttle governor, you'll find a black speaker. This is an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does turn and will allow you to dampen the sound. As we move down, you'll find the gray area, which will house all your panel functions as far as lighting and also an indicator for OK to pump. To the right, you'll find an engine cooler. That is a twist, not a pull. And as we move further to the right, you'll find the rear discharges. There's a 2.5 and 1.5. They are also CAFS related and so therefore foam capable. Let's move up to the very top section. You'll find a warning label here regarding climbing on the apparatus. You should not ride on the apparatus. And as we move down, you'll find your Hercules CAF system. It's the blue module. There's an on and off switch in the upper left, a option for manual or auto mode, and then also the airflow, which is a digital readout. As we move to the right, you'll find the air pressure and also oil temperature. Those are the two gauges in the blue module. And then also if we reach a high temp, you'll see an audible alarm and also a visual indicator for high temp alarm. As we move to the right, you'll find the red module, which is your Husky 3 foam system. The very top upper left, the green button allows you to activate on or off. We have a digital readout for the foam percentage. As we move down, the two gray buttons will allow you to increase or decrease the foam percentage. Moving further to the right, you'll find a button labeled Prime. This will allow you to prime, and there are also instructions and LED lights indicating the system status. As we move up, there are operating instructions at the very top, 1 through 4. Number 4 indicates the status of the LED lights. Moving further to the right, you'll find a foam level indicator. And then moving all the way up to the very top section, you're going to find all of your CAFS activations. There is an indicator when it has been activated. As we move down, you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. It is green in color. And as we move to the right, you'll find your deluge discharge, which is pink in color. Let's move down to the left where you'll find two 2.5-inch discharges located on the driver's side of the vehicle. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule. This is for testing process, and we'll go over that when we talk about the placard for it. To the right, the Pierce logo, American Flag Eagle, large diameter pump intake. Let's move further to the right. These are the two air switches allow you for your CAF system for the two rear discharges. You'll also find your tank fill, recirculating line, and tank to pump. In the upper right, you'll find your pump shift. Let's go ahead and move down further onto the panel. First, starting with the warning here regarding caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move further to the right, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule placard. This is when conducted at test pressure. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then also a placard indicating the type of pump and also the pump capacity. As we move down, we do have a direct fill and also an electric valve for that direct fill. Let's take a look to the far left lower corner in the pump panel. You'll find your manifold drains. You'll also find this warning label that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after they received proper training. This is just on the placard here for the driver's side auxiliary 2.5-inch, which is a female ball valve inlet. As we move to the right, you'll find all your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move to the right-hand side of the pump panel where you'll find your pump drain. This is the main pump drain. As we move to the right, you'll find two pan doors. We'll talk about the contents behind those in just a moment. Let's move down to the warning label here regarding do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move down, we do have a CAFS air outlet, and then just to the right, you'll find your foam draft tank lever, and also at the very bottom, your hose connection. Let's take a look inside those two compartments. Starting at the very top one, this is where your foam drain is located at. Also, as we move downward behind the next pan door, this is going to be for foam operations for your Husky 3. This is your fill operations, and those handles will be in the horizontal position for operations. Let's take a look now at your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left are the associated GPM, on the right the associated RPM at test pressure, and your job numbers in the upper left. Your pump panel does have a capacity of 1,500 GPM. Let's go ahead and move to the body now. You'll find just underneath two folding wheel chocks in front of and also in rear of the axle. As we move up, you'll find a side-facing marker turn indicator light, and then we'll also find some pan doors here. Two of those are for SCBA bottle storage. The other long vertical is going to be for your DEF and ultra low sulfur diesel. There is also upper and lower side-facing warning lights. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find a brake, turn, and reverse light cluster, and just up from that, you'll find lower emergency warning lights. On the left side, you'll find a switch which will activate your rear scene lights. Moving up to the notch areas where you'll find those two discharges, one 2.5 and the other 1.5 inches. And then moving up from that location, you'll find two emergency warning lights. Let's go ahead and move now to the passenger side rear notch area where you'll find the direct tank fill large diameter. Let's move now more toward the center area. Directly above the two rear doors is where you'll find your traffic advisor. And as we move just above the traffic advisor, difficult to see in the image, you'll find your backup camera. It does have a protective shroud over the top section. As we move to the upper right-hand corner, D handle will gain you access into this compartment. This is where your backboard storage is located. As we move to the very top section, you'll find adjustable rear-facing scene lights. Let's take a look with things in the open position. First, let's start down in the lower section behind the doors. You'll find adjustable shelving, and also at the very bottom, a pull-out style tray. Let's take a look now to the left-hand side of this image where we'll find the rear scene light switch. And as we move back over to the notch where we have the discharges, I would like to point out a couple of warning labels. This warning label is in regards to pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And then also fall hazard. You should not ride on or the top of the vehicle. As we move to the upper right-hand corner on the rear section, you'll find backboard storage. Couple close-ups of some more warning labels here. This is entanglement warning. Because of those hoses coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. And then also a fall. Good point, when you're climbing the vehicle, you should face the vehicle. As we move to the roof area or rear section, you'll find the compartment in the open position. These will allow for a person's weight on top. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll find the foam fill tower and then also the water fill tower. Let's take a look at the foam tank here. We do have a warning label here regarding foam failure hazard. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. Also your water tower. As we move closer to the front cab into the dunnage area, you'll find on the left and right you have two poles light which are adjustable. And then also as we move to the center, you'll find your master stream device. Moving further to the right, you do have the ability to open this top control. And then also you'll see on the far right hand side, this is your Husky 3 foam system reservoir. There is a sight gauge on that for the hydraulic fluid. As we move to the side of each section of hose bed, you'll also find LED lighting and also those compartment doors that do open to the outward area. As we look to the front section of the vehicle, to the cab, this is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these warning labels located here. Let's take a look now at the side of the vehicle. This is the passenger side. And we'll go ahead and focus in on the exhaust down in the lower portion. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. We're now at the midsection where you'll find your powered equipment rack. We do have a danger information here. Please be cautious when operating this piece of equipment. We do have instructions for raise and also to lower. As we move down further on the pump panel, you'll find your large diameter passenger side pump intake. It's the American flag Eagle Pierce logo, and then also additional warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Moving further to the right, you'll find your large diameter passenger side discharge. Moving to the right, you'll find an additional 2.5-inch discharge. Let's move down to the very bottom where you'll find all of your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is a female inlet. As we move forward to this location to the cab area, same configuration as the driver's side. They mirror each other on each side of the vehicle. Let's move now to the driver's area. We'll go inside the cab and identify a few items here. First, starting on the door panels, we have all of our safety and warning information. We'll now start down at the lower section in the stepwell. We do have some items down here I'd like to talk about. First, starting on the upper left is your air inlet. As we move further to the right, the auto charge will activate when plugged into your shoreline inlet, which is just to the right. Moving further to the right, we do have a switch here for your engine heater and also an LED indicator when it is in the on position. Here, those safety and warning information affixed to the door panel. They're on all the door panels for your safety. And as we move to about the right ankle of the operator while he's sitting in the seat, you'll find this is the 5-digit job number, date of manufacture, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluids and fluid capacity types for each of those components. As we move to the left knee of the operator, you'll find at the very top the tech module, transmission ABS port, and also diagnostic engine port. As we move down, you'll find your ABS diagnostic switch, engine diagnostic switch, and also your regen inhibit and DPF regen switch. Let's move to the dash now. On the left-hand side, you'll find your hazard or warning lights. Moving down, you'll find the start and ignition switch. Moving further to the right, you'll find a switch labeled EM, stands for Emergency Master, activates and deactivates all your emergency lights, along with headlights and panel switch. To the right, your high idle, which will allow you to engage your high idle. Moving to the left, you'll find your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temp. Moving to the right, you'll find the front and rear air, fuel level, and then also volts. As we move to the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. As we move to the right, difficult to see in this image, it's to the left. It is the triangle, or diamond I should say. It's the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. To the right, you'll find the camera video screen, and then moving further to the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. It is a push button with a digital readout. Moving to the right, you'll find your EQ2B. This is your siren in the upper left-hand corner of your vehicle. And then also a setting switch is here for engine brake for low, medium, and high, and then also your traction device or off-road traction. Moving further to the right, we'll have a set of memory switches. We'll identify those when we have a little bit closer. And then also your pump shift. We'll go over that in just a moment too. At the very top section, climate control for heating and air conditioning. Let's go back and look at some close-ups. Starting first with this monitor for your backup camera. Moving just to the right, we're going to find your EQ2B. This is your siren, mechanical siren, and also your engine brake settings and off-road traction. Moving further to the right, you'll find your pump shift. There's instructions here from road to pump and then also from pump to road. Just remember, when exiting the cab for pump operations, you'll need 2 green indicators, one pump engaged and OK to pump illuminating for outside pump operations. On the very top section, you'll find the switch for your tire chains and then also mirror control for the passenger and driver's side mirrors. As we move up to the very top section, you'll find your defrost, heat, and air conditioning. Let's go ahead and go overhead of the operator. On the far left-hand side, you'll find a yellow placard indicating the height, length, and weight of your vehicle. We'll also identify the switch panels. First, your emergency master, roof light, front warning light, and side warning light. As we move down, we find the lower rear warning, upper rear warning, Opticom, high beam flash. When any of these switches have been activated, the outer edge of that switch will illuminate. Moving further to the right, same plane, at the very top section, we'll find your load manager, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene lights. You'll also find a siren brake for your mechanical siren, an air horn switch, and also an electric siren. Once again, you can see the illumination here. The load manager has been selected. As we move further to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor, and then directly in the center find seatbelt information, red indicating that they're in the seat and not belted, green indicating they're in the seat and belted. Overhead, you'll find your red light indicating do not move your apparatus. You have a compartment or door open. As we move directly behind the operator seat, you'll find your battery charge when plugged into shore power. This will be active. Also will be active is your shoreline, which will activate your air compressor to maintain air brakes. As we move down to the rear section or crew cab area, you'll find affixed to the door panel all of our warning and safety information. And then we'll take a quick general look inside the cab area. What I would like to point out is the pan door in the very center. This is the rear section of your engine. As we lift and turn this latch, this will gain access into our daily checks for oil and transmission. As we move to the rear wall of the cab, you'll find your SCBA locations for the rear seats. There are 2 seats center mounted with SCBA packs. Just underneath those on the riser, you'll find additional storage. Let's go ahead and look to the the driver's side of the vehicle with the compartments in the open position. Let's first start at the very first compartment. You can see that there are 4 adjustable shelves, LED lighting located, and also material in the very back for attaching equipment. Over the rear axle, you'll find D-handle will gain you access to the tool board. When it's in the open position, it will lock into position, which requires you to unlock to stow. We'll also find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations in front of the rear axle. As we look to the rear, you'll find a single SCBA and then also your ultra low sulfur diesel, the silver cap. As we flip the door down, you'll find it exposes the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, which is blue in color. As we move to the rear, we have 2 adjustable shelves. Underneath that, you'll find a pull-out tray. On the very far right of that pull-out tray is where you'll find the release mechanism. When it's fully extended, it will lock into position. Therefore, you're requiring to push the tab downward, allowing it to restore. You can see now on the right-hand side, it is in its full position. You can see also protruding in the lower right-hand corner. That's going to be the release mechanism for that tray. All right, let's move around now to the passenger side. We've got our compartment doors open. Let's start at the very rear compartment and work our way forward. 2 adjustable shelves located in here and also ventilation access to the center rear compartment. As we move directly over the axle, you're going to find an LED emergency warning light and then also this pan door, which houses your container regarding your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. SCBA bottle storage in the left-hand side. On the back or reverse side of that pan door, you'll find all the information regarding the hydraulic oil. Close up here of the 2 SCBA bottle storage location. This is in front of the rear axle. As we move to the next compartment forward, you'll find adjustable shelving. There are 3 and also ventilation. Close up here of the exhaust. Remember, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move to the midsection, same layout as far as the cross lay is concerned. We have the 4 locations, 2 dead lays, cross lay number 1 and cross lay number 2, and also that warning label regarding entanglement. As we move to the very top, you'll also find the number 1 cross lay foam capable. As we move down, we'll find the large diameter intake. It's the Pierce logo American flag. And then also you'll find your large diameter pump discharge and a 2.5-inch discharge. As we move downward on the pump panel, you'll find on the left-hand side all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving forward to this location, you'll find your 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet. It is a ball valve. Let's move down to the cab area. Once again, affixed to the door panel, you're going to find all of our safety and warning information. We do have electric windows, easily accessible grab handles for opening and closing. As we move to the center of the vehicle, you'll find on the passenger and driver's side netting regarding your compartment, and also directly above that, you'll find a compartment light. There are adjustable shelves inside. There's 1 located on the passenger and 1 located on the driver's side. Let's move to the officer space. We'll start within this area first, starting with the door panel, where we have all of our safety and warning information. From this location, let's move just inside to the officer's space, where you'll find your forward dash location. As we look just to the left of this location, you'll find some switches and buttons. Let's first start with the very top. This is a 12-volt access, USB style, and then also an air horn push button. As we move just inside of that location in the gray area, you're going to find barrel style 12-volt access, and then also 2 additional USB style access. I would like to the very front section point this out. This is your vehicle data recorder port. And then as we move to the rear of the seat, you're going to find your EQ2B. This is the passenger seat. This is the control module for your siren. And then just underneath that, you'll find your unit radio. Let's take a quick peek under the truck, where you'll find your chains. These are auto-deployed from inside the cab. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the ladder in the extended position. And then we'll take a look at some of the components on that. We have a 24-foot extension ladder and a 14-foot roof ladder, in addition with 2 tubes for long-handled tools, and then also a tray for your trash hook. Also a 10-foot folding ladder. Congratulations, Douglas County, Washington, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.